Welcome back to.
I just want to say before you welcome him back, I kind of feel subconscious playing that music around company. I don't know why. We've done it before, but the saxophone sounded extra cheesy this time.
That shit was amazing, bro.
Well, I just want to say, it's originally Moulz had tasked me to create an original composition for Moulz Mel at the movies, but my composition sucked, quite frankly. So we went with some stock stuff that he found on YouTube.
You have it.
Oh yeah,
I don't want to play it. I don't want to.
No, you brought it up. You cut me off.
I gotta hear it now, bro.
I had an intro and everything, but you cut me off. So now you gotta face the music, as they say.
You want me to embarrass myself, huh?
Play what you had in mind.
Okay, I'll do it. Do it.
I asked Mel if he could flip the Siskel and Ebert at the movies theme song from the 90s into just a little beat for just a little song for the show.
All right. I've heard enough. I gotta hear this shit now.
What did fake Bernie Mac say on the couch? I told you to do some shit for the kids. And this is what I came up with. And it's not great. It's not great. But I'm not a producer, and when I did make beats, my idol in beat making was a man who we try not to mention. He's like the Voldemort of this show. And I got my production cues from him. So that's, if it sounds ultra choppy and like musically incoherent, it's because of this guy. But here it is.
Wow. All right, so first things first, I need to hear Cameron on this shit, son. Like, this really sounds like some fucking this sounds like some fucking oh boy type shit. Like, this really like Just Blaze type shit, son. Like,
okay. You know what? I'm looking at this in a new light now.
All right. Previously, I think we set the price on that beat at 50 cents. I think we're gonna raise the price up to $1.
Oh man,
we got the cosign now. It's too late. Killa, we'll give you for Killa. We'll do it for free. But if you want it, it's gonna cost $1. Let me introduce, before we get carried away. Let me introduce our special guest, and this is Moulz and Mel at the Movies, a subsidiary of Rap Rankings. I am Moulz. I am joined by Mel, and we are joined by a special guest. He is a rap and film writer, and he is the host of the Real Notes podcast, which, going forward, once we're done with this season, Moulz and Mel at the Movies, he'll continue talking about the relationship between hip-hop and film. Please welcome Dylan, aka Cinema Sai.
Damn. Thank y'all, man. Wow. This is the first time I've had anybody like intro me with the podcast and shit, because I just started it. So like, wow, that sounded crazy. I'm happy to be here. Thank y'all for having me. This is already great. So I'm so ready.
Well, thank you for coming on. And Dylan, full disclosure, I wasn't familiar with your work until we have a guy on this show kind of known as the third member, Jesse Fairfax from Old Harlem.
Shout out to Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse's the third member. He's the big homie. So, he recommended that I reach out to you because you had made a tweet about doing a show that was film and hip hop kind of merged. So before we get into this week's film, I just would like you to tell us a little bit more about your new show, Real Notes. I know that you just had Elucid and Billy Woods of Arm & Hammer on your show, so that's a big get for early on. And congratulations, by the way, on the launch of the show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
What's such a dope concept to me as such a lover of both things, and a show that I'm actually going to continue to check out as you continue to drop them. So if you guys like Moulz and Mel at the Movies, and you enjoy this season that we've been doing, you enjoy the film analysis and stuff like that, I do urge you to check out Dylan's show.
Man, thank you so much. That I really appreciate that. So like I want to say maybe like June or July of last year, because like my name is Cinema Sai. I got the name from I actually got the name from an old friend at college because I was writing film reviews under the name Cinema I with Masai because Masai is my middle name, and he was just like, you should like change your name to Cinema Sai, and I was like, yeah. So like shout out to Timon. That was his idea, and I'd always been looking for a way to combine like rap and film because like these two things saved my life. They're like the reason I'm here, and like it's a passion thing. Like I'm sure it is for the both of y'all. I can clearly tell already. So like I was like I like to write, but at the same time I'm a really big talker. So I was pushing back against the idea of doing a podcast for a while, and then people were like, you should do one. You'd be great at it. You got the voice for it. And I'm like, okay, like I'm only going to do it if I can think of a cool idea. So I thought of the idea like last summer, and then I was like, oh, I'll come back to this in a couple months. And now in December, I was like, you know what? Like I have a little bit of time. Let me just like try to put this together and see what I can't do. And I reached out to my homegirl J Words, Jen. She did the opening beat for it. My boy Mike Big Flowers, he did all the graphic design, and I was like, I just need a name, and Real Notes was the first thing that came to mind. So I just love like music. Like music to me is inherently cinematic, and cinema is inherently like musical, if that makes sense. So I just love attacking things from that little intersection, and I feel like everybody loves movies, especially now that like we've been away from the theater for a year, and like we're kind of starting to like appreciate like I know I'm gonna appreciate it the first time that I can sit in a movie theater and watch anything that isn't Sonic the Hedgehog again. So like I just wanted to bring myself like. This started out as like a thing I thought I was going to do for fun. And then, you know, like I got a lot of support from people like behind the scenes off rip. So I was like, wow, like I could like really take this somewhere. And, you know, like everyone, so far I've done episodes with The Lasso, who's a really dope producer in Michigan. I did an episode with Air, J Words again, and Masai, their group. And then of course, you know, the guys, Billy Woods and Elucid, the Arm and Hammer. And like, everyone has just been so chill about this, and I'm like blown. So, you know, that's pretty much it. It's just me geeking out with people for an hour and 40 minutes at a time. That's pretty much it.
That's the best kind of podcasting to me.
Yeah,
you know?
it's just that's you know, you just gotta do what comes naturally to you, and especially in film, I always have felt that music is such an integral part of film that a lot of times people take for granted because, you know, it's a visual medium. But without the music, I mean, we've seen, if you've ever taken a film class, I'm sure they've shown you part of Jaws or a part of Psycho without the score in it.
Yeah.
You know, and it loses a lot of its impact. Right.
You know, and I would say to that, not only the addition of music in film, but I think, like you were saying, it's inherently sort of like the rhythm and pacing of a film. It's kind of musical, you know, things swell, you know, and then they come back down, and there's a conclusion. There's a, you know, like there's a bridge almost in films too. There's a hook. There's a, you know, there are verses, acts. Like they're similar. You could definitely make that comparison.
And like a nice little coda at the end. Yeah, I feel you 100%. Like, and yeah, like that Psycho scene really, like, not that it doesn't work with music, but like the music really enhances it so much, even though there's such a process behind how Hitchcock did that scene. And like, I forget, I think it was only like 7 or 8 shots or something crazy like that. But either way, like, yeah, you know, like that's what Ghostface did. That's what fucking like, that's what Lil Baby does, and I want to explore all of that. So
nice. Well,
so it's Reel Notes, guys. Reel as in like a film reel. So REEL Notes. It should be on all your podcast platforms. Check it out. And today we're here to discuss Hustle and Flow.
Yeah, that's Notes spelled like NOTES, aka the thing that Moulz forgets to send me before we do these episodes sometimes.
Oh shit!
Or those things that end up going, 10 times more pages when the subject is Drake for Mel. And, stay within the 2 to 3 page range for everybody else.
Damn,
it happened once. It won't happen again. We did an 8-hour Take Care episode. Was it supposed to be 8 hours? No. Whoa. Honestly, it was supposed to be probably like 6 hours.
That's a whole work day, bro.
Never thought of it like that. It is. Wow. Yeah, I'm sorry. To the audience, once again, I've apologized many times for this, but
you're welcome to the long haul truckers out there.
That's incredible. Yeah, honestly, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
I was just gonna ask you what your favorite Drake album is. Is it Take Care?
No,
it's actually not. Although I enjoy Take Care quite a bit. I
could spill the beans right now. Next season, we're opening up with our favorite Drake album.
Hell yeah!
And so
mutually, we both personally agree that this is Drake's best album, and it's Nothing Was the Same.
Oh,
okay.
Just
gonna say it. All right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's from the first half of his career. As a Drake enthusiast, I enjoy all of his albums. But it's Nothing Was the Same. I feel like that was his best intersection of rap. It was when the Drake formula came together and crystallized in a way that we know it as today. And I don't think he's made something as concise since. I think the whole 40 challenging him to make it I think it was 13 tracks paid off,
Now I'll say this. If Scorpion was the same number of tracks as Nothing Was the Same and I got to pick the tracks, it would be better.
Huh.
But there's too much filler. Too much filler. Way too much filler.
Everybody wants to sleep on a boy when it comes to Scorpion, It's a long form thing, You got to understand it's a thing where you got to sit down and really, it's a holistic experience, fam. Mine's in the six. They told me they the Achilles, they sit out on the block and they listen to Scorpion and it really gets in their soul,
So are you from Toronto?
I'm not, but I have been known to do something called the Drake Report on this show. Incredible. I retired it in season 2, I think. After the embarrassing Take Care debacle, it didn't feel comfortable for me to toot the Drake horn.
That's
anymore,
hilarious.
So. Yeah,
I don't want to speak too much more on this because I don't want to detract from anything. But
good call, because this could very easily with me it could turn into a Drake podcast, and that's not what we came to do. We came to talk about hustle and flow, man. So yeah. Before we mention that film, though, I just want to say you kind of my ears perked up when you said Sonic the Hedgehog. So. I got to play that. Don't ask me why I got that laying around. Just understand that Moulz and I, if I told you
Sonic the Hedgehog periphery.
It's not even so much that we love Sonic. It's that we come from, and we say this jokingly. I mean, it is April 1st, but we come from a cult centered around a musician who found spiritual connections within the Sonic the Hedgehog universe. I won't go any deeper into it.
I feel like I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember exactly who it is. But
I'm glad for you.
Yeah,
Stay that way.
I think that you are a blessed and highly favored individual if that's the case.
Yeah, you were able to avoid that. So
and that's wild because I know a lot about Sonic the Hedgehog fandom and all that shit. So that one thing anyway, yeah, not a good movie to end my not a good movie to start my 1-year hiatus on. So I'm trying to fix that.
Man. Yeah.
that was your last theatrical film, you're saying?
Yeah, that was the last movie I saw in theaters.
Okay.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm trying to get vaccinated so I can see the Mortal Kombat
hell yeah
reboot in theaters because I've been waiting on this since 97. So
yeah,
I was born in 93, but I've been playing Mortal Kombat since 96. So I'm I'm heavily invested in that lore and that universe, so I need this.
Love it. Yeah.
So
I was born in '92, and I've been playing Mortal Kombat
word.
since I don't even know how long. So yeah. Nah, like me and my girlfriend love Mortal Kombat. So
Nice.
I'm all in. I'm all in.
Okay, word. Good. I feel like I'm amongst family. Okay.
Yeah, bro.
Good.
We got it.
All right. Well, here's the thing. Usually on these Moulz Mel, the movie segments, we have guests on. We like to run through the rating system, which we've adopted from Rap Rankings. This is a subsidiary of Rap Rankings. It's within a Rap Rankings episode, so we kind of adopt that rating system for the rap music and apply it to albums. So it's pretty simple. It's like this. Each film in this case is rated on a scale of 1 to 10. These numbers do not reflect the quality of the film, as that is indeterminable. Instead, each number reflects the level of enjoyment. And in short, here's what each number means. So 10 means it's a perfect film to you, one of your favorite films of all time. 9 means you love it. 8 means you like it a lot. 7 means just you like it. 6 means it's all right. You don't dislike it, but you can't say that you like it. 5 means you feel practically nothing about it. 4 means it's not the worst thing you've ever seen, but you dislike it. 3 means just you dislike it. 2 means you hate it. And 1 means you absolutely can't stand it, one of the worst things you've ever seen. Side note, you can add a plus or a minus to those numbers. They don't have any mathematical or statistical value. They're basically indicators that mean, like, say you say a 6+, that's like saying a strong 6, or like a 7- is like a light 7, or It's an indicator that it could go up or down in the future because the ratings aren't static on this show. 6+ have climbed as far as like 8s sometimes, or like an 8 could drop to a 7. So it's just you got a little bit of extra descriptive power there with the pluses and minuses. So that's pretty much how it goes. So yeah, if you got a rating in mind based off of that, if you need me to go through it again, basically at this point, it's up to you whether, if you got a rating, you can go first, or you could have us lead the way. It's however you want to do it. You're the esteemed guest here.
I'm gonna let y'all take it, because I have like a range, but I don't know what it is yet. So I'm gonna let y'all go first.
Okay. All right, cool. Moulz, you want to go? Should I go? I guess I'll go. Yeah, so this is a film that I'd seen once, I think maybe twice. Once like on like DVD or something in the year it came out. Then I might have saw it again on TV. So in 2005, I was like 12. And I recall enjoying it. Like, it was a film that I enjoyed. And, that was just kind of how I felt about it, and didn't really think much of it since. And then I sat down, of course, for the show to watch it and get ready to review it. And I mean, as I'm going to get into shortly, I enjoyed this film way more than I guess I thought I did. And I'm basically feeling like an 8+. I like it a lot. I almost love it. Like, it's almost a 9. This thing is this thing shocked me, and I knew I was gonna like it. I was like 100% sure I was gonna like it. I didn't know how much. Like, of all the films we've seen so far this season, the only real comparison, I guess, in terms of subject matter would be 8 Mile. So I'm like, kind of in the back of my mind, I'm weighing this against 8 Mile. They're both music centric. They both kind of are detailing a come up story. And to my surprise, I ended up liking this slightly more. They're both 8s for me, but I think I gave 8 Mile like just a flat 8, maybe a 8-. But this was a 8+ for me, almost a 9, and that's pretty much where I'm at with it. So, Moulz, you got something here? Did this dude go MIA? He dropped a link in the chat.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So I was on mute. My bad.
Oh my god.
So
this guy. See, I'm the sane member on the show. This is why I call myself the sane member of the show.
I don't like clicking and typing too much. I like to mute when I do that. So I dropped a link in the chat.
Yeah.
And I have historical documentation here.
Oh, look at this. All right, this is a post from my co-host.
Yes, it's on the horrordvds.com message boards. Here's my account with my government name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Joined October 23rd, 2003. there's my icon, Don Cheadle from Talk to Me.
Really underrated movie, by the way. I love that movie.
Amazing movie. By the way, if you guys have never seen it, I highly recommend it. One of my favorite biopics, actually. And I love the biopics that start when someone's life actually gets interesting instead of making us watch them as kids for 20 minutes.
Yeah, facts.
So here is the post. 2005, track the films you watch. I did one in 2004 as well. I used to track the films I watch and rate them. Who knew?
It's almost like you were built for this show of ours.
Yes. So here's this post from 2005. I decided in 2005 I was only going to track theatrical viewings because my life was getting good. So I was not tracking the movies as much, you know?
Okay.
And if you go here to the second post in the thread, I'm doing my theatrical viewings. I saw this movie twice.
Really?
In the theaters. Yeah, look. 11 days apart. Go scroll to the very end of
I see it on July 16th here. 4.5 stars.
Out of 5.
Out of 5. And, I see. It's doing some weird HTML stuff. Yeah, you saw it again on July 27th. Same rating.
4.5 stars.
Yeah. So it held up. You weren't just like tripping the first time.
I mean,
okay.
I was lucky enough to go. It was at the Lowe's Kips Bay Theater, which will come up one more time on this show at some point when we do Before I Self-Destruct. But
okay.
I was at the Lowe's Kips Bay Theater for a sneak preview of Hustle and Flow. And that was on the 16th of July, 2005. And then on the 27th, I guess that was the weekend it went wide, or at least like opened in New York. And I saw it again. And I loved it just as much as I did, 2 weeks prior. I watched it once when it came out on DVD because I bought the DVD and I watched it at least once. Mm-hmm. This week was my first viewing of the film, I would say, in at least 11 years.
Okay.
So it's been a while. But my recollection was I really liked this film. I mean, I rated it higher than The 7-Year Itch.
Crash.
Well, what did I give Crash?
4 stars. But we know about Crash. That was Oscar bait, as they say.
It was Oscar bait. What did I give Revenge of the Sith? I saw that twice.
4 stars.
Classic. Should have went triple.
Oh man. I guess I gotta load that drop in for Hayden Christensen. He's coming back, by the way, I hear.
What do you mean? In the Star Wars universe?
Yeah, they're doing one of them streaming service gimmicks, Him and was it Ewan McGregor? Ewan?
Yeah, Ewan McGregor. So I'm happy to announce 9-.
Wow. Okay.
My favorite film of everything we've watched so far this season. Has it held up? Yes, it has. It's just as good as I remember it being. All the beats in this film that got me in the past got me this time.
Nice. Huh. Okay. So 8+ for me, 9- from you. So I like it a lot. I almost love it.
I love it.
You love it, I guess the ball is in cinema-sized court now.
All right. So, man, so based off of your rating system, I'm gonna say, I'm probably gonna be maybe a strong 6 to a light 7.
Wow. Okay.
and a lot of it is because there were just a handful of okay. So
I gotta let the shot off. This is okay. This is officially
because full disclosure, when I asked Dylan what he wanted to come on to do, he was like, "Man, I don't know. I mean, I could do Cradle to the Grave, Get Rich or Die Trying, and then of course there's Hustle and Flow." I'm like, okay, he must be a fan of all 3 movies, and he's having trouble deciding or something.
And he came in here and he's like,
You know what? I'm about to say it.
I didn't expect. I really, usually the guest likes what they come on for more than Mel and I like the thing.
Yo,
usually that's how it goes. But this is great because we've been wondering when somebody would come on for something that either they didn't like or were like lukewarm about.
Oh, so man.
You're a legend. You're one of the first in the show.
Okay. So when we talked about it initially, I hadn't seen the movie in probably about a decade either. And I went back and watched it last week, and I was like, this is cool, but I didn't love it as much as I remember liking it when I first saw it when it first came out. Cause the thing that really got me was like, I was a really big 3-6 fan when this came out. Like, I can't remember whether or not this came out before or after Stay Fly and everything, but like,
it came out after the song Stay Fly. It came out before, I think, the album Most Known Unknown.
Got you. Okay. So like considering the fact that like I was just really taken aback by how much it like didn't reflect the modern Memphis rap scene to like at least like from the soundtrack perspective, like I think the only artist on there from Memphis was damn, let me see.
Al
I think
Capone,
I have it
right?
somewhere. Actually no, I lied. There were a couple others in that case because it was Al Capone and there was somebody else. 3-6 had it. Okay, 3-6 did it. Yeah, 3-6 wrote. Never mind. Forget me. Forget everything I just said. 3-6 wrote "It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp." Forget everything I just said. But like going back and watching it, man, like it was fun and I enjoyed it, but it didn't like bowl me over the way that I really wanted it to. Like, I'm gonna be nice and give it a light 7.
I was worried that it would.
Okay, so the light 7,
like,
all right.
Because I was young when I saw that film for the first time. I had just graduated high school, so not to mention I was just starting to get my feet wet in terms of like DJing, MCing, things like that. So it was like a film that I thought at this point I'm a broadcaster now. I'm an analyst. I'm an entertainer. Like I'm not doing any of that music shit anymore. Like for the time being, and I thought maybe without that sort of personal connection to it, that it wouldn't hit for me, or like maybe, with Empire becoming like a hit show and like Terrence and Taraji kind of becoming memes in a weird way, it's almost like, all right, what am I setting myself up for here? And I was really shocked that it hit exactly the same for me as it always has.
I'm glad you mentioned that because you reminded me. What's important for me to say is when I first saw this, I was not a musician. I had not yet started rapping. This is 2005. Like you mentioned, Dylan, you mentioned like Stay Fly. I had Stay Fly on the PSP. Like I was just a music listener at that point. I was in the 8th grade, and when this came out, I believe, and it was just that was just kind of my deal. And then what happened was I found a Lil Wayne mixtape in 2007 that changed my life, and then from that moment I became a rapper, and I left the music industry like as an aspiring professional musician. Was that last year? I guess like I sort of ended that,
Yeah. Well,
part of my life.
We went full time with this show last year,
right? And so watching it now, I'm no longer a rapper, but I've had the experience of being a rapper and having been in the industry and close to some of those things. So there's like a different appreciation I have for it, a heightened appreciation, I should say. And, I think maybe that's why I enjoy it now more than I remembered enjoying it. Because I always enjoyed it. When I was 13 or whatever, I liked it. But seeing it now, there was a different aspect to it that I could latch on to. Like, just to be clear, like when we decided to do this film, like Hustle and Flow. Okay, what do I remember about Hustle and Flow? I remember Maine. I remember him wearing a wife beater. And I remember him sweating. Like I just remember Terrence Howard sweating. Like
It is
that's
a really
what I
sweaty
remember.
movie. Wow.
Yeah, and so I turned it on. I'm like, yeah, this is pretty much everything I remember. But what shocked me was like, Moulz, you mentioned this off air, the cinematography, like the lighting, it's has a very like prestige look to it as a film. Like, it's a little grainy. It's a little like you were saying.
I think the film grain that's in there reminded me a lot of The Wrestler, even though it's directed like a little less scattershot. Like The Wrestler has that sort of raw, intimate, sort of handheld camera vibe to it, whereas this was like feels like a little bit sturdier, more, like voyeuristic,
Hollywood,
if you will.
More,
yeah, like but still, like the color grading, the lighting, the cinematography, just the look of like that film grain. I think it's a nice film to look at. I was pleased that like it's held up on that end, whereas I had some criticisms about 8 Mile's cinematography at points where like that scene where he's in the bathroom in the beginning that they flash back to him at the battle and whatnot, and I felt like it was Fight Club-esque, with like how dark it was and stuff like that. But like I'm into the overall look of this film. We talk about the relationship between film and music, and I do think that the pacing of this film to me is brilliant. If we just break it apart into 3 acts, the first act is really kind of getting the whole band together. The second act is creating 3 songs, and then the third act is Skinny Black. And
I would almost say the first act is just like kind of establishing who everyone is and getting that
actually
sense
happens
that, like,
within
DJ,
the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, we
But-
get DJ's aimless.
It moves along like, I mean, everything moves along once it gets going, and we open up with that, the monologue about, man ain't like a dog, and which is a great monologue, by the way.
Yeah, it is a great monologue.
But it's like slow and poetic, and then we get into a film that I think, like, from a pacing standpoint, every scene makes sense. Why are they in the church, for example? Why are they just sitting there? It's not just in there to be filmic. There's a purpose, because the church, there's Anthony Anderson, his wife and her sort of outlook on things. You have DJ and his way of life, and the women around him and how they react to things. And you bring these characters in little by little. So by the end of the first act, they're all in a room getting ready to make their first song. Whoop that trick.
Yeah.
Right.
Second act is they're grinding, like they're kind of working
It's
together.
the growing
as a unit.
pains of, pursuing that career. I know all about it.
Man, I got to tell you, the third act of this film to me is money. As soon as he has that, that inkling, like, I'm going to go down to where Skinny Black is, he meets up with Isaac Hayes, at the spot, like, and just
shout out to him. He looks like my 6th grade best friend, Trayvon.
Yo.
I just got to say that.
Who, Isaac Hayes?
Yeah, Isaac Hayes.
They had my man in a shirt that looked like a picnic table. Like, that was the funniest part of that movie to me. And then I also couldn't help but remember that Isaac Hayes is a Scientologist, and that kind of made me sad.
That is very true.
But he was very, very, very good in that movie. Like,
very warm, very fatherly.
Yeah. And there's a certain warmth in it. Like, it's a very warm and inviting feeling early on in the third act, where things start to feel like very intimate. And then he's having that conversation with Skinny Black, and they're talking to each other very close. They're like up to each other's faces damn near. Yeah. And, you get the Willie Hutch in there, like lots of ambiance in this third act. And then things take a turn for the worst. And Mel, you were mentioning to me off air about you were a big fan of the way things end up going down for him.
As someone who's navigated the music industry, I appreciated the realism of sort of having his fairy tale storybook ending, you know, basically get denied. You know, the door closed. Like you think like, oh wow, it worked. He got his will up. He smoked his cigarette, got in his mode, as he mentions so many times in the film. Ends up like sort of pimping Skinny Black, you know, and finessing him, and like he gets him the tape, and it's like, wow, mission success. You know, until he goes to the bathroom, and pulls his tape out of the toilet. And I'm like, oh God, all of the heartbreak of trying to make it like rush back into my heart and brain at that moment.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, Mel, that scene back in 2005 when I first saw this film, that got me back then. And I was like, man, like, what a fucking betrayal. Like, this is awful.
Yeah, and he really got played. Like,
he shit on him, you know? And then he says, fuck you, bitch, you know? I'm just like, oh man. Like Luda just kind of is like, yeah, fuck you, like, and he's laying there with his pants halfway down his ass.
And about that, I wonder now, because in 2005 when it came out, I'm not really sure how I processed the scene, like, you know, but now seeing it, you know, leading up to that moment, you know, it seems like, oh, wow, he really came around on DJ. They had that, like, you know, intimate connection, like both being from Memphis, kind of, you know, just talking about upbringing and the environment and everything. It's like, oh, okay, they're cool now. You get that sense. But when he finds him in the bathroom, he's basically like muttering himself, like, you know, like, dumbass nigga thought I was gone. Like, so I'm like, oh, wow, maybe, you know, my new perspective is like, maybe as he was going to the bathroom, he felt pimped. And he's like, oh, wow, this guy like sat down and talked to me for hours just to slide me this tape. You know, maybe he felt a bit betrayed.
Maybe. And the other weird thing is that, like, cause like obviously like they're getting drunker and drunker in the scene. And like at first when like both times I saw this movie, when Terrence Howard pulls the tape out of the fucking toilet, which, like, holy shit, what an awful thing to have to go through. Like, that's like, I can't even imagine, like, but like, so like while he did it, like, Skinny Black was so drunk at that point that I thought it was almost a mistake at first. Like, I really thought that he like accidentally did it, and he was like,
and he's like, tell me this fell out of your pocket.
Right, exactly. And then of course he's just like, yeah, fucking like stupid ass nigga, like, you know, like, it is what it is. But like, I was like out of the handful of scenes that really hit me, like that one really, like, that was a great gut punch, because that whole scene beforehand where they're talking about the local scene and all of Skinny Black's early tapes, and then Terrence Howard gives that other really amazing monologue about like their place in the world. Like, that was amazing,
like,
too.
Right, when the civilizations crumble and like,
yeah, you know, like,
right.
He could talk, and it's almost like he was trying to split the difference, because like one of my big problems with the movie is that like he's trying to split the difference between being this like warrior poet motherfucker and then just like slipping in Maine wherever he can. Like, there's a like, I found a supercut. He says Maine 221 times in the movie. 200, like, nah, bro. Like, it's like it really gets to the point where it just starts to feel like a joke after like number 25. I'm like, son, like, no.
That's what I was worried about going in, because Maine has become a meme.
Yeah, exactly. And like, it's in every movie. It's in every Terrence Howard movie too. Like, it's not just in this one. So it's right, like,
so it's become, you know, at the time though, this felt like a revelation in 2005. Right. We didn't know he'd be maining his way all the way to 2020, 2021, but
yeah, and I guess it's kind of unfair, because like looking back on it now and seeing the kind of person that Terrence Howard has become, like, I guess you could say that like my perspective on the movie has kind of been tainted by the kind of person he is now, because I can't look at him and not laugh.
We found out about him. As Meek Mill would say, we found out.
We found out. I mean, that's irrefutable.
Yeah, but like, and it's really just like a combination of things, mostly just like the fucking Oscar red carpet fucking algorithms walking on water for tips shit kills me every time I think about it, and like the whole Iron Man thing, right? Like, I just have a really hard time taking Terrence Howard seriously anymore. I came really close a bunch of times in this, but it wasn't enough for me to not just like laugh every
I'm
time I
with
thought
you
about
on
it.
anymore because like at this point,
Yeah.
he's truly devolved into self-parody. I was pleasantly surprised upon my revisit of this film that all of that didn't hinder my enjoyment of the film. I was still able to take it, at face value, to not really put in too much stock into Terrence Howard kind of being like at least like piece of shit adjacent nowadays.
Yeah.
So, the thing though about this film and why it's my favorite of the things we've watched so far, I was like really struggling with this. Do I like this more than Training Day? I think I like it more as a film more than Training Day. I think Denzel like is almost too big for Training Day in a way. Like his performance completely eclipses the filmmaking, the majority of the other actors in that film. He's just so intense and so good and so magnetic on screen that I'm not saying he ruined the movie for me. What did I give Training Day, Mel? 8? 8
I
plus?
think like an 8+.
Yeah, so like I mean, I really like it, but as a film, I enjoy this one more, even though there's not one single performance better than Denzel's in Training Day. I think overall, I think everyone in this film actually did a really good job and played their roles well. You have Anthony Anderson and DJ Qualls, who are supposed to be more of like the comic relief in the film. Mm-hmm. They play that role very well. You need the drama from like Terrence Howard and Taraji, I think they deliver. Terrence Howard especially, those monologues we've discussed already are really well played. I think that he's like just that measured delivery and just taking his time with it. It's cool to me. Like I think his performance before it became self-parody, this is still to me holds up as like it just one single in a vacuum. Great acting.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
I was very scared that I would watch it and it'd be Maine the movie, and I was pleasantly surprised that hadn't become the case for me. Although I completely understand, Dylan, like it sort of feeling like that for you, because yeah, I mean it's a different time than 2005 now. Mm-hmm. But I think just for me. Well, another aspect I want to touch on too, because you were talking about Isaac Hayes' picnic shirt. The first hour of this film, I'm watching and I'm like, yo, is this just like a black comedy? Like, is this a dark comedy? Like, cause I'm finding so many aspects hilarious as I'm watching it. And like, funny movie. I don't remember it being this funny. Like, I was young, sure, but like, I mean, there are so many moments like in the first hour where I'm like, just like minor things like, when he first goes into like the strip club, like it has like a leaky roof. So like there are buckets catching raindrops. I'm like, what kind of strip club is this? He's talking about some like stripper in there. He's like, she got a map of Texas birthmark on her face. Like the bum guy shows up in the parking lot with the thing with the keyboard, the Casio keyboard, and like he's kind of like tinkering with it, and she's like, "Yo, Stevie Wonder, we hungry." Like, by the way, I'm like, that's a good throwaway. I
do want to shout out Paula Jai Parker for her performance as Lexus, who delivers one of the best lines in the film. You know what I'm talking about, Mel?
When they're sitting on, so DJ's character brings, for lack of a better term here, his hose to Anthony Anderson's character's house. To
and
sort
Anthony
of like
Anderson is like a very clean cut, God fearing guy.
The family man, he's on the straight and
laced.
narrow. He's got a good wife, good house, steady job. He's paying bills, and in walks the pimp and his workers, and they're sitting on the couch while they're in the kitchen discussing music. And, the white chick is like talking about her braids to the wife, and, the wife compliments her. And then the other girl is just like going off on the white chick, like, your braids ain't even that fine, like, and she's like, nuh-uh, like the guys say they're nice, and he's like, yeah, because like, what did you say?
But
Because
she
like
said,
they're on.
she said, the guys think they're nice, and she said, the guys tell me they're nice, and she says after they nut. But the way she says it and the way she puts her body into saying it, there's like a certain
she was like, yeah, because they're fucking you, and then she's like, yeah, the guys say nice, like then they nut,
and they nut, like just the way she hit that nut, like beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, she sort of gyrates her crotch a little bit. She does something with her mouth, and I'm just like, wow, that's great physical acting, great like line delivery. You get a little bit of drama with her in the third act.
I honestly forgot, and this is the DJ character's lowest moment in the film, because I thought he was gonna bring him back in, but he kicks her and the child out, and that's sort of it for them in the movie. And I'm like, I'm watching this, and I'm like, okay, are they gonna come? Like, he's gonna let him in, right? He's gonna feel bad because so far he's been like a character. His character's like he's a pimp with a heart of gold, you know. So I'm like, all right, but he never lets them back in, and we don't see her again until the very end when his song's on the radio and she's in the strip club, like shaking her head, like I can't believe it, he made it. You know?
Like.
But I'm like, yo, you kicked a woman and her child out over your like rap dream pride. like yeah, she was getting spicy with you, but like,
but that's
really?
who she was. That's what she did. I mean, that was her character, you know.
Yeah. And
so,
fun fact about her, that's Trudy, the mom from the Proud Family.
Is it?
That's Trudy from the Proud Family. Yeah. And she's also Frankie Faison's girlfriend and Big Boy's mistress in Idlewild as well. And like,
oh, you're right.
Yeah, she is in Idlewild.
She's amazing. Shout out to her. She's
Shout
my
out
favorite.
to her for sure.
Yeah,
and,
I think that honestly, like, out of all the performances other than Terrence Howard, I think she deserves a lot of credit because, like, what she did with her screen time, I think that she, like, battles Terrence Howard in the scenes that they're in together in terms of screen presence, line delivery, all that stuff. So she did a great job. I wanted to make sure we shout her out.
Yeah, 100%. I wanted to go back to I think Moulz, you were talking about like, or no. Maybe it was Birch talking about DJ being like a pimp with a heart of gold. Like I never got the heart of gold part. Like
it's not all the way there. He has a lot of dubious action throughout the film. But like I say that because with his character being a pimp,
I think you just want to see the group win. Everyone.
Yeah, totally.
Well, yeah,
and,
of course.
And like that has, but like I feel like that has less to do with it. Like, I mean, like he has the talent, he can rap, of course, but like he's not. I just have a lot more sympathy for Taraji P. Henson's character. Like I always really like. She's always been my favorite. Whenever I go back and watch this movie, like just I wish she was in it more because like it feels like she's in it a lot, but you go back and look at it, like especially after the scene like near the end of the second act when like my favorite scene in the entire movie, by the way, is when she and Terrence Howard kiss for the first time, and it's just like these various close-ups on like the two of them just like eating each other's faces. Like, bro, you're like it's just going for 2 minutes, and I'm like, y'all, we get it. Like they're in love. Like please stop. But like it just gets funnier and funnier and funnier because it's just them eating face for like 2 minutes, and I'm like, son, like why? Who
that
made
was one
this
thing
choice?
I did pick up on coming back this week and watching it. I felt like I remembered Taraji being a much stronger force in this film from like a screen time perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like in a lot of scenes she's just holding the baby.
Yeah, and it really speaks to how great of an actress she is that she made such an impression and didn't have that much screen time because she's like she doesn't really show up until like she doesn't really have like
she almost reminds me of like a silent film actress because she does a lot of acting with her face.
Yeah, and like her eyes in particular, like she's got really expressive eyes, like especially at that point because remember this is also around the time like Baby Boy had just happened too, and like Baby Boy was another really like she has like a lot of expressiveness in her face and just like like Baby Boy was also really big on that type of stuff. So like to kind of what I really wanted to do was like be able to compare and contrast her role in Baby Boy to her role in Hustle and Flow, because like at that point in time, it almost felt like she was kind of thankless. You know, like people didn't really appreciate her the way they appreciate her now, and like it's just crazy to see her just firing on all cylinders the way she was, like so early before like everyone was really like, you know what, Taraji P. Hexter's doing her thing.
Before the Twitter praise rolled in, and you know people started really appreciating Taraji
around like Empire, I would say, which is crazy because Empire is so much worse than Hustle and Flow.
Well, what's funny is that's where I got off the train. I mean, I was a big fan of Taraji, and I was a big fan of Terrence Howard, even though he had started to become a bit of a caricature of himself. By the time Empire hit, I'm like, man, I don't know. This is like stodgy and stilted, and like this isn't how I mean, I'm happy for them to have like have gotten careers in Hollywood that are going to be like long standing. As long as they want to work, there'll always be work for them. But like that was exactly the moment I feel like I checked out on them.
I just want to say I've had the pleasure of never seeing Empire. So,
oh man.
But unfortunately, my only interaction with Empire was because the guy I mentioned earlier that ran the cult that Moulz and I were a part of had an appearance, very minor appearance on Empire, and he was like on the Empire soundtrack or something. So I know it wouldn't.
No way. That's hilarious.
But that's a clue for those people listening that don't know who we're talking about. But what I wanted to say about her character, Suge, in here is to use one of those words that the internet has kind of turned to a buzzword. She's so pure, you know, like she's such a sweetheart in this film. You know, you can't help but fall in love with the character, Suge. You know, she's just, you know, like, that big-eyed expressiveness and just like wonder and, you know, loyalty. And it's like, really, she deserves much better than she gets throughout the
Everybody
film.
in this film deserves better than DJ, but
yeah, everyone.
Basically. By proxy, everybody betters DJ in a way,
right? And they do get something by bettering DJ, because I mean, he seems like the kind of guy. He's not going to be a skinny black. Like he's going to take his people along with him,
right? So hopefully, you know, he'll better them as well. But
yeah,
I really am kind of hoping for a better outcome for all of the people in his periphery rather than him himself. It's just that he's going to be the conduit for all of that. Nobody else has the talent to take everyone else out of this situation.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of the film, you know, I got goosebumps all over again when they hear the song on the radio. You know, DJ Qualls is a janitor and he's like cleaning up and he hears the song on the radio. Then it cuts to Taraji with the baby and she hears it and she's rapping it back to the baby. I got chills. I mean, it hit me in the same place. Like it gave me those warm and fuzzies that I got all the way back in 2005 when I saw the movie for the first time. I do think like, yeah, I agree with you, Dylan, in the sense that like, this is a very Hollywoodized version of the Memphis rap scene. But for what it's worth, I think that, you know, as a piece of just entertainment, I think it works completely.
I respect that. Sorry. I respect that.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say I respect that. Yeah, like, it's just, yeah, I respect that. I got nothing else to say yet.
Well, I have a proposal, actually. I know what this film is. This from this sort of like happenstance, like transient giving him a Casio keyboard in a strip club parking lot, to this man like coldly throwing out a woman and her child after he's insulted and it has his pride wounded over his rap dreams, to this sort of storybook ending he eventually has after being fronted on by a major rapper. Hustle and Flow, you can quote me on this, is the SoundCloud rapper Citizen Kane. That is my take.
I request elaboration.
That a SoundCloud rapper thinks that, you know, it's like you got the woman who's like fronting on him. It's like, yeah, I'm going to show you. I'm going to kick you out. I'm going to make it. You know, they're the people big time in them. You know, there's like the they're recording in the back room with like drink carriers for acoustic support. Like this is SoundCloud Rap the movie before SoundCloud ever came around. Okay. And I have an alternate title as well. Okay. Yeah. Because he says main so much and he's always talking about his mode. And based on themes of the movie, I'm gonna get very, very academic here. Hustle and Flow, alternatively titled Main and His Mode, a study of intrinsic motivation and flow state. That is what this film is. Okay?
I thought you were just gonna call it main mode, but that's cool too.
I mean, I'm just like, I'm looking at it from that academic perspective, and I'm going to use that as a segue. Like, Moulz, I don't know if you noticed, but like the white guy character who they brought in to like play the keys and everything, he's sort of like the engineer. He was like vaguely white rap writer-ish with some of his commentary. Like, I loved him as a character, but he was so Pitchfork when he was like, when they were sitting out, he's like, rap is coming back home to the South. Every man has the right to contribute a verse.
Oh man!
I'm just like, this cold, is like, I know these types of people, but he's much better than those types of people because he's willing to actively immerse himself in that environment and help out, and not just sit on a keyboard and listen, think he's being an ally.
He's a working class guy. He's a fucking janitor. Like he's not like a academic type who's just, sitting online and opining about, the genius.
Who would do what I just did.
Right.
Like analyzing the film. Like, no, he's a regular working dude. He's a janitor.
My man is filling up soda machines. Like
right. Yeah. He's solid. He's a solid
when he
dude.
hears his song that he helped produce on the radio, he's mopping the floors.
Right. Exactly.
Everyone goes back to their shit because this guy that was their lifeline gets locked up. But that moment where they all hear it is a special moment. You get to see into how everybody's doing. And then you have the perfect ending with the prison guard saying, yo, like, please listen to my demo.
Yeah. Very, very Hollywood ending that I rock with personally, like.
But isn't that the case though? Isn't that like you're all as an artist, a struggling artist, you're always trying to get to that level where you don't have to be handing out your tape anymore. And then when you finally
people are handing their tape out to you,
they'll start handing their tape out to you. So like it's the circle of life, the circle of struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. I
just want to. Oh no! Go ahead.
There was definitely a period of time where, like, especially the ending was like super aspirational, and then that combined with seeing, cause a quick little digression, like when this won the Oscar, when It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp won the Oscar, and all of 3-6 went on stage in front of all those fucking white people in the fucking green skull t-shirts and the fucking like 3 sizes too big pants and the sunglasses. Like those two moments. That was a moment,
as the kids say.
Those two moments dovetailed for me, and I was like, son, like that's when I knew, like I had already knew that I loved rap, but I was like, damn, like that's like I'm never like I knew I was watching history, and for whatever problems I have with how like. Because Moulz, you were talking about how like the cinematography is really, really nice. It feels like it's almost like distractingly nice. It almost makes it feel like a stage play sometimes. Because I think about shows like Insecure, where they're very deliberate about the way they portray black skin on the screen, because like there's a lot of like lighting that has to come into that to make it really pop the way that it should. And like I noticed some of those techniques in Hustle and Flow, and I'm like, this is cool, but it just feels like distractingly pretty.
Like almost a reference quality or a case study on how to light black skin.
Right. And I thought that was cool, but watching it now, it's like, this is like, have y'all seen the episode of Atlanta where Earn and Lottie are at the party, the Juneteenth party, and they're talking to the woman who's talking about like her play that she wrote about like the prostitute and the gangbanger in the strip club during Hurricane Katrina. Like it kind of felt like that sometimes, like,
Right.
which is like, it feels kind of unfair to say that, but that's kind of what I was getting from some of it, not all of it, but
that's
like
what we do here, man. I mean, what we do on this show is, of course, if you lived through something, you have the context of having lived through it and how you felt about it then. But, you know, we say the ratings aren't stagnant because the ratings can change based on a variety of factors, you know what I mean? Including essentially the cinematography in this film becoming almost academic in its, you know, like in the way that it's used now. Because you look at something now, you were mentioning Insecure or Atlanta, and it doesn't feel as stark. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel as like, wow, I'm looking at, you know, this kind of cinematography that looks so beautiful, but yet I understand what you mean by like distracting. Because at points for me, you know, early on in like the first 10 minutes of this film, they're in the strip club, but they're in the back where like the girls get dressed, and they shoot the girls under like fluoros. And that's what made me think about The Wrestler. I was like, okay. Or when they're in the corner store and Josie Scott, for some reason, plays the guy at the cashier's checkout. But there's like light coming in through the window. There's like natural light. And the way they're shooting it, I really was like picking up on, you know, almost admiring the cinematography more than paying attention to what was happening in the film. So,
well, then did you miss Terrence Howard rubbing the stack of money on his balls?
Yo, how could you miss that?
No, I don't. Listen, I've seen this film enough times. I know all the little details. I did just pick up for the first time though that that's Josie Scott from, I think, Saliva, who's playing the cashier.
Oh, that's crazy.
Because I knew I recognized him from somewhere, but I'm like, I think I recognized him from wrestling. But I did, because didn't like Saliva do some shit with wrestling for a while? No?
I don't know. I'm not going to lie.
I actually don't know.
Let me tell you.
No.
Saliva, WWE. Yeah, they made the Batista theme song, I Walk Alone.
Damn.
He's talking about
that guy who's singing is Josie Scott.
Okay.
And he's the lead singer of Saliva. And he is the guy who is like the crusty looking white guy working at the corner store.
Who's giving DJ the weed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now he has the distinction of owning money that's covered in Terrence Howard's ball sweat. So shout out to him.
He was only in the TV show Wanted for an episode, and he was in Hustle and Flow, and they stopped acting. This is in 2005. Maybe he just decided it wasn't for him.
He got that ball sweat money and said they don't pay me enough for this.
Because all that money was fake too. Like,
you know, it's rough. Come on, yeah. I will say this before I forget, because listen, the universe almost protected Moulz from this, but I remember. You said something earlier about the character Trudy on the Proud Family. And I noticed Moulz got real quiet because he don't know nothing about that Proud Family. You know,
Damn,
so Moulz, you know it was coming,
And you ain't black.
so there you go.
When did that show air?
Okay, now he's gonna hit me with the logic and make me look dumb. Okay, what was that? Early 2000s Disney Channel,
2001.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. When I was 14 years old, why would I be watching the Disney Channel? Post 9/11 in New York. Let me ask you a question.
Let me get my jokes off.
Why would I be in New York post 9/11, 14 years old?
He brought 9/11 into this.
All right, I got ball hairs now, and you're gonna tell me I'm gonna watch the Disney Channel in the middle of the Attitude Era, in the middle of the invasion, WCW coming into the WWF. You're gonna tell me in 2001 with the real world Las Vegas that I'm gonna watch the Disney Channel?
Son. But it was the Proud Family.
It was the Proud Family.
I don't know who they are. I've never even heard of them.
You know what that means? Okay. You know what that tells me? This tells me this.
You may not know it, but you're taking some major steps toward developing your own clown identity.
So there you go.
Oh my God. No, I'm not. I'm making steps to define a clown identity
That is
Right?
classic
Or the Born
animation
Identity,
right
for
there.
that
It's
matter.
classic animation. You know,
it's on Disney Plus now. You gotta get up on your sugar mama shit, son.
I
You
don't
gotta,
have I don't
you gotta
have
do
Disney
it.
Plus. I don't stream. I'll tell you what I got. I got Pixar, a couple Pixars. I got a couple Star Wars. I got a couple cartoons, but like I don't know what's going on. The Proud Family. Listen, best of love to the Proud Family. I don't know who you are. I've never even seen many SpongeBob's.
everybody out there right now is laughing at you like Poppy from the Proud Family. That's what they're doing.
Poppy, she's great. We love Poppy. She got nominated for a Grammy.
That's what they're doing
That's
to
not
you right
Poppy.
now.
Poppy's
it's
a
Poppy.
great singer. Poppy's a great singer.
Not the singer, She is great.
Yeah.
You know,
Shout out to Poppy, but now we're talking about a different Poppy.
is it
I'm
different?
not familiar with this Poppy. I know a Poppy bagel.
I know a champagne
I know-
Poppy.
I know Poppy. Yeah, I mean, we know Poppy, of course.
There are
but
many good Poppies.
There's
There
many
are
good
many- there are
Poppies.
many good
okay?
Poppies.
I mean, I know Nori is Poppy. You know, so when you say Poppy, I don't think of Drake. I
Eddie
think of Nori.
Guerrero, I'm your Poppy. You
I'm
know,
a Poppy. Yeah. So I'm not thinking. I don't know about this family, but I'm glad that they're proud. I'm happy that they're a family, and I look forward to maybe being reincarnated one day as a younger person, and maybe I'll watch it in
as
that
a
lifetime.
young black man.
Dude,
You know, and then you can enjoy some of our media. You know,
Some of your media. Like I don't do a show rap rankings. We're reviewing Hustle and Flow right now
my God,
on the
son.
show. Like I'm not about to do Soul in the Hole next week.
Speaking of black media, I just want to say when you mentioned that back scene in the back of the strip club, when that came on the screen, a movie my brain went to immediately was The Players Club.
And
And
Players Club, classic soundtrack on there too.
Oh, word? See, now you out blacking me. Now I ain't black.
Well, that's not.
'Cause
That's
I ain't
not
never
true.
heard
I've
it.
never
No,
made such
chill.
claims. I've never made such claims.
All right, yeah, I know. I give Moulz a hard time on this show, but yeah, you know, it's funny that like I think
Well,
The
actually,
Players
no,
Club is
I'm
like
actually-
also
I
a
don't-
grimy movie, but
I
this
don't know
one
if
is
it's a great
almost shot.
soundtrack. I
Say
only
what?
know the songs from the soundtrack that I like. I did the thing. I just
Oh,
did
the thing that everyone does when they say a soundtrack's great, but they only actually are talking about the songs they like.
I'm thinking
and not
about the
soundtrack
three
as a whole.
songs from that soundtrack that I'm familiar with.
Oh man. So now I gotta ask, what are they? What are they? What are those songs?
Okay, so I'm gonna pull it up for you right now.
Yeah, because I'm
Players
looking at it
Club.
too.
Yeah,
Ooh.
have I heard it? Let me see if I've heard it. Yeah, you played me from Marcy to Hollywood a few episodes ago. That sounded pretty good. I think I've heard "We Be Clubbin'" by Ice Cube.
We've
Yeah.
all heard "We Be Clubbin'." You got "Money" with Jay-Z and Memphis Bleak. You got
Money.
the Marcy to Hollywood. You got "Under Pressure," Corrupt.
Yeah, the Corrupt and Battle Cat song. I love that song.
I don't know about these other songs, but I'm sure they're great, and it's a classic soundtrack.
I'm curious now. If y'all had to pick your favorite movie soundtracks, well, what's your favorite movie soundtrack? Do you have a
Movie?
favorite movie soundtrack?
Yes, I do. We won't be covering it on this show, unfortunately, because it's not a rap album. But it's Superfly, Curtis Mayfield, easily. Like
That's respectable. That's a great choice.
I don't even have to think about it, unless Discovery by Daft Punk is considered a soundtrack because it soundtracked the film Interstellar 5555.
That's
then-
absolutely a soundtrack. Yeah.
Then Discovery is my favorite soundtrack of all time. But if not, then Superfly.
That's a really good choice. Like, I mean, let me like it's Curtis Mayfield. You can't go wrong with Curtis Mayfield. And
You can't
like,
go wrong.
nah, like not at all.
One that I'm really like, I have nostalgia for. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it on this season because it was only like 50 or 60% rap. Was the Men in Black soundtrack?
Oh, that hurts. You know what I just learned? That was one of Alicia Keys' first songs on like a
Yep.
professional record ever. Because I read I actually read her Pitchfork ran a 20th anniversary piece on songs in A minor, and they mentioned that, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like,
Also,
I didn't- yeah.
The Nautic with D'Angelo and the Roots is on there.
That's an amazing
Um,
song, yeah.
Just Cruisin' is on there. Look, I like that soundtrack. Men in Black by Will Smith. I mean, it's a classic.
Hell yeah. You know,
I mean, that's a 10 out of 10 song for me. The the title song, "Man in Black" by Will
yeah,
Smith.
nah, what an amazing song.
Do you have a favorite soundtrack?
You know, I haven't heard that many soundtracks out of what we've done this season.
What about
and based on what we've done this season, I can't really say unfortunately because I rated it this, but like I guess my favorite soundtrack is The Show. The 1995 documentary film that's barely a documentary. I like pretty much every song on there. Oddly enough, but I think if we had gotten to do like Juice or Above the Rim or something like that, which we didn't do because it wasn't like predominantly rap. There was like a lot of R&B on there, and we're rap rankings. Maybe it would have been one of those. You know, maybe it's you know what actually what it might be for me. Space Jam. Could be Space
Jam. There you go.
Space Jam is an amazing
I'm gonna
soundtrack.
shout out, of course, Purple Rain. I mean, as Daniel.
Oh, well, listen, that should be.
Daniel said that's a cheat code, so that doesn't count.
It basically is.
Yeah. How do y'all feel about the Digimon the movie soundtrack?
You know what? I've heard about the Digimon the movie soundtrack. Never actually like heard it, but I've heard things throughout the years about it. So
I'll give you this. All right, I don't know anything about no Digimon. That's a little out of my wheelhouse, but I could tell you that Donkey Kong Country 2 soundtrack by David Wise, classic.
Yeah, shit is gas. I agree.
Country 2.
I gotta agree. That shit is pretty gas.
That's an all timer for me. Like as a video game soundtrack, I actually will listen to as music.
Yeah, like that's up there with like the Jet Set Radio Future soundtrack for me. That's
Jet Set Radio had good music for sure.
Yeah, like that was a soundtrack I was really big on. But I love the Digimon the movie soundtrack because it was a whole bunch of shit. Fucking
it's like Smash Mouth, Fatboy Slim, Bare Naked Ladies.
So it was like a big combination of like rap electronica or like whatever you want to call electronica at that time and ska. Like that's what got me into ska when I was like young. I'm not really I'm not as into ska now, but like there were some records on that album. Like there were some good ones too. Like that's where I learned about the Boss Tones and Less Than Jake and Fatboy Slim. Like that was my first exposure to these artists, and like it was all just in this Digimon movie where like little kids are watching these digital pets get like torn apart by computer viruses. Like who would have thunk it? Like.
Oh, listen, I gotta give a shout out. Batman Forever has a fire soundtrack. Love that.
I wish I could say the 1989 Batman by Prince. I listened to the album. There's some great songs on there. I don't like it as a whole.
Not the biggest fan of that one.
Big fan of Lemon Crush. That's my record off of there. And Dance, of course. You know.
Not for nothing, the Barbershop 2 Back in Business soundtrack is really good.
Yo.
Classic, shoulda went triple.
If we want to take it there, the Nutty Professor 2 The Clumps soundtrack, that's the one.
Huh.
That's the one.
Why do I feel like I know what you're talking about, and I think you're potentially right?
Doesn't really
matter.
It doesn't. Yeah, the song
Jackson
with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis is on there. Hey Poppy by Jay-Z and Memphis Bleak is on there.
Emil's on there too. Shout out to Emil.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Emil for real. And yeah,
Thank you.
Fuck it. Like
that Eminem and Redman record is on here.
The LL Cool J one's on here too. Music Soul Child and Case, DMX. It's
Missing You's on here. I'm ready to say this is a classic.
It's a classic.
But this is the problem with our show is that this just doesn't have enough straight up rap on it for us to put it on the rap rankings board. It's like maybe 40% rap.
You know, and what we found is, you know, rap would almost be made to look bad because a lot of these songs that aren't rap we love, but it would kind of like inevitably prove a point. Not really prove a point, but start an argument. It's like, is rap inherently worse than like R&B? Because like, you know, we would start giving 8s and 9s and 10s out maybe like willy nilly compared to a lot of the rap centric soundtracks, and it's like, well, what is that saying overall?
I'll tell you what it says. I've been thinking about this, Mel, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
We made beats, we rapped, you know, we wrote shit, like we immersed ourselves in the craft, so we have a higher standard because we know how to do it. We don't know how to make R&B. We don't know how to make, I mean, we've dabbled in other genres, of course, but I wouldn't consider us experts in any of them. Right. So with rap, I think we just have higher standards at this point because we've done it for so long. With other things, it's like, how the fuck am I going to tell this guy how to tune his guitar? Like, I don't even know how. I don't know. It sounds good. It's like, they're like, it's out of tune. I'm like, it sounds tuned. I don't know. It's not tuned.
Sounds good to me. You know, it's sort of that thing, you know, you find out how the magic works and it's, you know, a little less special, you know.
No, facts.
Yeah, but yeah, you know, maybe one day we'll you know, find the time to sit down and do just non-rap soundtracks just to talk about it, you know. But yeah, like, listen, this you know, this hustle and flow. I respect the 7- teetering on a 6+. I respect the 9- for more.
It might be a 6+ teetering on a 7-, Mel. I think you're being a little too presumptive there.
Well, no, he did say he was going to be nice and give it a 7-.
Yeah,
you know, so I hit the ding.
I'm feeling a little more. I'm feeling a little better about it talking to you guys. Like, you guys are making me look at it a little different now, and I want to go back and watch it again. So like, yeah. You know, well,
that's to be safe, to honor it kind of being up in the air. I already hit the ding, so I'll hit the just in case it does.
Just a lingering ding and a lingering buzz is never bad, you know.
Nah,
it's right on, you know. So yeah, it's like we said, the ratings are not static, so you know things can change, and you shouldn't feel bad about that.
Right, we're all human,
you know.
Totally.
Yeah. So,
well, hey Dylan, I want to thank you for coming on with us, and I'd love to have you back to discuss music one of these days.
Yo, any time. Like, thank y'all for having me. Like, I just really appreciate anybody who like trusts me enough to bring me on to talk about anything. So like, thank y'all so much. Like, this was a lot of fun. Like, I always love being able to just chop it up about this shit, and like, y'all really know your shit too. Like, that's the crazy part. Like, a lot of people don't know their shit. Like, y'all know your shit. So I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
And we try. But yeah, I mean, this is usually part of the show. If you got anything you want to plug, let the people know what you got going on. You know, just random shout outs. The floor is yours to do whatever you want with.
All right. So yeah, you know, like, Real Notes is a thing. I'm not sure how many I'm gonna be in by the time this episode comes out, but I got 3 right now, and I've got like a whole bunch more coming. Check that out wherever you find podcasts, on YouTube and Audio Mac too. Shout out to my people over at Audio Mac. I write all over the place. I write at Audio Mac. I write at Pitchfork. I write at OK Player. I bounce around a lot, which is also wild to think about. And you know, like, I shout out to Terrence Howard. I don't know what he's got going on. I hope his brain is back together, because I honestly wouldn't mind seeing a 10 years later sequel to Hustle and Flow. Like, I could go for that. So and also, because I talked about it with Billy Woods on my shit, shout out to John Singleton. He's the best. Even if Higher Learning wasn't perfect, John Singleton's the best. And I still want to start Snowfall. Nice. I got to start Snowfall. Thank y'all.
Hearing about that myself. I got to start that
Thank
myself. You. But yeah, thanks for coming on.
You are always welcome back. You were a pleasure to have. And just hang tight for a minute when we finish up here, so we can get your audio and everyone could hear this great conversation.
Hell yeah.
All right. We'll see the rest of the folks there, whoever's listening right now, back for the actual soundtrack review. It's been fun. Moulz, I gotta hit your music, right?
I have music. Oh yeah, that's right.
Remember? I forgot for a second too because we started talking about soundtracks. So I was back in music mode, and I'm like, "Oh right, this is Moulz Mel at the movies." Like, yeah. Listen, you should give Dylan a taste of you winging it. You know,
I'll wing it right now.
All right, well, here we go. Here's your outro.
Next week on Moulz and Mel at the movies, we're gonna take a look at the 1997 documentary Soul in the Hole. Is it soulful or is it holeful? I guess we're gonna find out. You know, because basketball is a great sport. I think everyone can agree, and we know that
my favorite
what's going on right now with these basketball cards. It's just getting out of hand now. But next week should be in hand, like a basketball, on Moulz and Mel at the movies. Thank you.
Hey, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all of the other episodes, check the link in the description, stop by raprankings.com, or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform. And please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting to help us grow the channel and continue our journey as hip-hop's first and premier extreme podcast.